let you finish because I pressed the button and that's exactly when
No
got
people
that.
outside of Australia knew that song existed.
So in point of fact, it gets played here in Canada, particularly the East Coast, on Anzac Day, almost for sure, as well as Remembrance Day.
There you go. I didn't know anywhere else knew Anzac Day existed. Except New Zealand, obviously.
The Anzacs.
Being Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, no, the Canadian military, the Canadian Navy towns in particular, have worked a lot with the Anzac forces, and we just adore them.
Yeah.
They're the most Canadian of everyone else we have to work with, and we get the Canadian. It's sort of legendary in RIMPAC and even in NATO that a bunch of Canadians and a bunch of Australians in the same bar is either going to end hysterically well or hysterically badly, and either is worth bringing a camera for.
That's fair. That is
Fair.
As you do.
But yes, no. That particular track, that particular song, like I say, you'll hear it on the radio Anzac Day. You're sure going to hear it on the radio on Remembrance Day here in Canada, particularly, like I say, in the Navy towns.
We
were there.
I've just realized that I've sat down to play a game and I don't have dice. 1 second, please.
I was gonna make fun of you, but
you don't have dice, do you?
You don't have dice either.
You also do not have dice. Yeah, I don't feel bad anymore. I now have my little...
good.
Ah, yes. Dice Dragon.
Dice Dragon.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I have a gremlin laying beneath my chair.
I'm going to assume that's
get my dice, please?
Wellington.
I hope so.
If it's not Wellington, we have questions about what dog is in your house.
Well, we have questions about a gremlin specifically. Just don't spill any water, I guess.
Yeah, civic swimming pools right out of the question. Civic swimming pools right out of the question, unless you're in a Republican neighborhood.
Oop.
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
I feel like
voice. Outside voice.
You sure did.
I mean, we're not disagreeing.
No, we're not disagreeing. I don't want you to think we're disagreeing. Oop is all I have to say.
Shouldn't get them wet either.
Sam, tell us about you. Specifically
Me?
in the
Sorry.
context of things that you do and things that you wish to... things that follow terms of service and allow legal communication. I don't know. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know. I just don't.
What just happened?
It's been too long since Shawnee's played a game, so like now.
I was just gonna say, Sam got a shave, and Shawnee's completely out there. She's done.
Yeah. I shaved and then had the immediate reaction that I always get whenever I shave of, oh right, that's why I had a beard.
You know something? That's pretty much exactly what my thing last week. I cleaned myself up and said, oh look, I look 30. That's why I leave that there.
Oh golly.
I mentioned
I look
that to
30
my mom.
except for the receding hairline. Yeah, awesome. Good job, Michelle. Put that back. No, it doesn't glue.
I made that comment to my mom, and she was like, "Yeah, I prefer you with the beard as well." And I was like, "I don't think you've said that to anyone ever in my entire life. It's always been prefer clean shaven." And suddenly it's like, "Yeah, no, that needs a beard." I don't know how to take
Put
that.
a beard on that. Put a beard on that.
Like I agree, but also,
Aww.
And GM taking and Great Mustache taking shots. Okay, good job.
Well, I mean, we have Mysol, so.
I shaved because I was doing face capture for a,
of course, yes,
for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like, I was like, I asked if I needed to shave, and the guy was like, I don't know, but I'll check. And then like the day before, he's like, I asked talk to people and they don't know, so better safe than sorry. And I was like, yep, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was fun.
Cool.
They sent. I've got like a behind the scenes video, I guess, that they recorded.
Oh, nice.
So they recorded because it's basically it's a student thing. It's at like a sort of a specialized like creative field academy.
Right. Yeah.
And so they have access to sort of some of this stuff, and so they're making this animation. And I was like, well, sounds like it'd be fun to play with the tech. But the person controlling making sure that all the face cap stuff was set up correctly was also then recording each take like over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, is that part of it? And he's like, no, this is for you. You
Ah.
get this.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool.
You get a video of you doing this in case that's handy. I was like, oh, okay. But they filmed it in like 4K, so this 5-minute video is like 30 gig.
Wow.
And I was
That's
like,
cool.
I'm gonna have to clear some space.
Mhm.
I mean,
But it was fun.
just
So I'll
keep
be
it.
interested to see it whenever it gets made. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the timeline is. So, but it was definitely fun to do.
Dude, the
It's
good
fun to
news
be in a booth,
is
in the booth with people on the other side of glass telling me to,
I suppose it's been a while, hasn't it, for you to actually have gone into a studio to do
Yeah,
something?
I mean, I wasn't doing a lot even before the pandemic really, but most of the stuff I have done has been in person. So
Yeah.
it's sort of, there's a degree of like, the convenience of being able to do it from home, but it can sometimes feel like you're just sort of throwing stuff out into the void and be like, well, God, I hope that works. Anyway, so it was good.
So you are doing some face cap stuff that you will put, I'm sure, in your little thingery-do.
I'm sure I'll find a way to use it.
Werbosaurus.
I loved
share
the
it.
photo
Probably-
that you put on Twitter of you doing the face cap stuff that made you look like Chevalier. That was fun.
I didn't see that.
Hadn't made that connection until you made that comment, and I was like, oh God, yeah, no, it's me with a white thing on my face. Which was kind of like when I started, like I completely mucked up like my very first line because I just got really distracted of this face moving in front of me. It's like, yeah, right. I have to look at it, but not. Okay. But otherwise, yeah. So I mean, if you want to try and find that, you can look at my Twitter. It's @the_RealSammyP.
Excellent. I will go do that after the show.
Jamie.
Oh, that's me.
It is.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. Unless you've changed. I don't know.
Occasionally. I am Jamie Collette. You can find me on my website, jamie-collette.com, or on Twitter, @MuffinManifesto. This week, I have been hyperfixated playing the new expansion of Path of Exile and not going to work because I've also been a little bit ill.
Cough, cough. New expansion. Cough, cough.
Well, look, I'm not going to say it's not convenient timing for me, but I have actually been a little bit ill. Not that kind of sick, but I'm all good now, I hope. Feeling better. Anyway.
You've still got a little bit of a rasp, yes, so it's audible.
I think that's just because I only woke up. I wasn't that kind of sick, but that's okay.
Very good.
Yeah, so unless you guys want to hear a whole lot about like maximizing chaos damage, I don't have that much like interesting stuff to talk about this week.
That's fair.
I've been playing. Oh no, you know what? I do. Because the other thing that I've been doing this week is becoming obsessed with the Olympic volleyball competition. Because earlier this year, a good friend of mine got me addicted to Haikyuu, the volleyball anime.
Yeah.
And so I now know everything about volleyball. And so I want, like...
I'm not sure that's how that works, but keep going.
Surprisingly... It kind of is.
It does. They teach a lot in the show about the game.
I had the same with baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And volleyball. And ice skating.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it's
skating.
cooking. I know a lot more about cooking.
Same.
I just rewatched Yuri on Ice as well. But, Yeah, so like we were like, oh, the Olympics. Do we? Me and the person I live with were like, do we care about that? And we're like, oh, we should watch a volleyball game and see how close it is to the anime. And now I'm like so addicted because like it's actually really close to the anime.
Yeah, because
Like-
that's how close they get.
I mean, awesome that they actually have done the, that the anime has actually done its homework, as it were. That's fantastic.
Well, it's funny because like the things I thought were like anime tropes invading the sport often aren't. Like the way they like stand across the court from each other and like stare at each other and do faces, and it's like it's so the whole sport is just like so hyper expressive. It's really interesting.
I think
I love that.
it was definitely the case for baseball, but I think volleyball is also quite popular in Japan.
Oh yeah,
So
they're one of the.
it's also sort of like they can't get away with not getting it right because people watching are going to know.
Yeah,
before they
gotcha.
watch.
The captain of the Japanese volleyball team did a crossover with the anime.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
That is cool.
Not with the anime, but with the manga.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
eventually.
I'm going to keep us on track. Danny.
Huh? Oh,
Hi.
no, I want to talk about anime some more. Hi.
Well, okay, you tell us about anime and how it crosses over with fencing.
Well, there is a fencing anime. I just haven't watched it yet. Now I feel bad.
I'm surprised you
There
haven't.
is. Fencing's awesome.
Stop. There's a fencing anime?
I don't
I
think
believe
so.
so. No,
Oh,
I think
really?
there is. Okay, maybe it's like a manga,
I mean, I'd
but
be
like, I don't
surprised
know.
if there wasn't, but
Okay,
I'm
do
pretty
me a
sure
favor.
it's-
Danny, if there turns out to be, please send me the info so I can watch, please.
I also
Don't
volunteer
worry,
as
I
tribute.
will.
Yeah.
There's definitely something that I like could have. Yeah. Anyway. I'm Danny. I played the finale of the Monster Hearts game recently that we've been talking about, and my heart is broken into a million pieces because what am I supposed to do with my life now, etc., etc. My Saturdays
Keep RPing. Why does it stop ever?
Don't worry. Well, I mean, I will. I miss the rest of it, and I just whatever. I don't know if you want to find out what I'm doing at any given moment because I have forgotten. But all of the things that I recorded last year for voice acting type things are starting to come out now. The next thing that's coming out is Giannis Descendants, where I was a cameo as the Felian Industries computer. So I do my best. Have a magical day. Voice while I tell people sometimes very disturbing things. So
Yay!
if you want to hear that,
Oh, okay. Danny's take on Galados. Okay, this I gotta see.
yeah. And but no, see, it's not a sinister. It's just bad
Just
things are happening.
Chipper.
It's just trying to help. Just trying to help. That's all. I don't really know what else. I just sit here mostly. What am I doing? I don't know.
Okay. Michelle,
Yes.
tell us about you and what anime you wish there were, because now we're on a roll.
Oh, okay. Well, see,
Yeah.
That's really hard because my first reaction actually is a reboot. I would love to see a Clamp update of Bubblegum Crisis. I think that now that the Cyberpunk video game 2077 is out, I think Bubblegum Crisis updated in terms of its topics and themes with modern Clamp technology, I think would be stunningly good. The original Bubblegum Crisis was revolutionary. To me, it ranks right up there with Akira. But so my first reaction is I'd love to see that one done, that one remade. In terms of new, there was Iron Blood Orphans. One of the I would love to see a better done version of Gundam's Iron Blood Orphans. Throw the Gundam setting out, work it backwards into something a little bit more world-centric, but I just love the concept of the way that they started out with Iron Blood Orphans. Just put the Gundam stuff aside. Gundam's cool, but there's such thing as overusing a theme. But the whole setup for Iron Blood Orphans was amazing. So that would be awesome, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do?
Let's see here.
There's a little blurb that you can read it if you would like to.
Yes, exactly. Well, I was just going to say the stuff on the screen, obviously, except for the folks who are not watching Twitch can't see that. So I am an author. You can catch up with me on Amazon. Just search for my name. There are exactly 2 of us. If you get someone who wants to talk to you about horse jumping, that's the Olympic medalist, not me. Try again. I'm the other one. And then, you can find, so Amazon, if you're into steampunk or dieselpunk or just like character-focused dramas with hopeful themes, that's what I do. And you can catch up with me, streaming either games or TTRPG talk on my own Twitch channel, 902PE Gaming. You can find me here on Twitch. Also, of course, my Twitter account. Mostly there I'm talking about a mixture of Canadian politics and how to be a better GM. And the last thing is I've just, in the last month, launched my Patreon, and you can find that on Patreon at $5 Dungeon. And literally $5 Dungeon is $5. You get a dungeon you can use, what I call a 5-room dungeon. And if you obviously enough, there are tiers and all that stuff, but at its fundamental, $5, good. That's me.
This is amazing. I think if you use dungeon maps from Michelle. That is my endorsement.
Wow, thank you. That's very kind.
If you use dungeon maps.
If you use maps, use them from Michelle. I don't, because it's too much management. I can't.
Maps are not always your friend. I totally agree.
I can't get it. Me though, I forgot my own thingo, which is fun.
Just read it. Remember, that's what you told me.
Oh no, I forgot my own little. It doesn't matter. I'm me, Chantel B. I am on Twitter consistently. I've got some new stuff happening over the next couple of... actually, I don't know when it's coming out. It's something I can't talk about. I'm sorry, but it is game related, and it is presumably out in the next month or so. I will keep people updated, but it is super cool. I am an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a game designer, I'm a streamer, I'm a psychologist. I am now GMing, I guess. Everything I do is on wordswithcolor.com.
Yes.
I have a link tree attached to my Twitter, but I also have a link tree attached to my website. So anywhere you go, you can find out everything I do.
Dum dum dum.
Also, in terms of animes, I am going to finish Hunter x Hunter sometime in the next 2 weeks, and I've been reviewing that over on my husband's channel, which is Grand Line Review. Well, actually, no, I've been on New World Review, not Grand Line Review. But I don't know what I want to watch next. I haven't decided. I also don't know that I want to review it. I just kind of want to watch something.
Yeah.
So I'll figure that out as and when, I think.
I have many recommendations.
I know I need to finish Haikyuu because I started it and then got too busy to finish it. So I know I need to finish it because it was very good.
It's so good, but it's also unfinished. So it's like...
I mean, so's Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah,
Technically.
Hunter x Hunter, doesn't that manga go for 1 million issues or whatever?
Hunter x Hunter is... I'm at episode 144, I believe, of 146 or 148.
Listen, I love anime as much as the next person, but I feel like Shawnee shouldn't be allowed to watch another anime until they've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. And that's all.
To be fair, I only watched it for the first time all the way through this year, but it's very good.
So did I during the panoramic, and I cried a lot.
I'm working on it. I'm like halfway through the first book. They're in books, aren't they?
I'm here for you. They are in books, yes.
Yeah, I'm halfway through the first book. So
I know.
yeah, I'm working on it.
I'm
I'm
just
working.
saying.
I'm working my way. It's just I'm making my way downtown. We should play. We should.
Walking fast.
We should play a game. Let's play a game. Okay.
I think you're being silly.
I'm
Take it
not.
away.
Why would we play a game?
I don't know. I'm scared. Maybe we shouldn't.
It just teared
I
it
mean,
off.
every time we play a game, you use that fancy ability of yours, ask a question, and then get an answer you didn't want to hear. So why would you want to play a game? I mean,
This is the
Let's
most
play a little game.
Yeah, this is the most jigsaw it's ever been.
I know, right? I was about to say this is very Jigsaw, and I'm a little scared.
Here.
Should we?
I'm just visiting. I don't.
I didn't come here for horror. Let's play. I'm scared now. I'm gonna just go to the intro. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Get this tray off my lap while the intro's running.
The intro's not running anymore. We're back.
and so now we all get to look at you
You
awkwardly.
left the screen, we assumed.
I came back. I came back. I return. I have
What's it like to be the only one that knows exactly how long the intro is?
It feels great, you know? It feels great. I can tell you exactly how long it is if you'd like to know.
You know.
Bold of you assume giving me a couple of numbers would tell me a length of time that I would understand.
Oh, no. Well, that's why I didn't.
exactly where I
That's
was
why
at.
you don't have it. That's the reason I haven't told you. I should just change the length at random. That would be fun.
A lot
feel
of
like
work.
now whatever you tell me, it's gonna be that whether you do it or not. You don't even have to do it. Like I have the understanding that you would and you will, so it's changing my mind. Like
It's changing from the number you haven't been given, yes.
That's
Schrodinger's intro duration.
it. Both is and isn't an intro.
Both is and isn't changed. Yes.
It's so, okay. I'm scared, but I'm gonna hand Michelle control of really very little. What's happening?
I'm just gonna say, all I get to press is the buttons that make the music, and she turns them off anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
I do. Yeah, I do.
I start scaring people, and I notice the audio cuts out in the replay. Yeah, okay.
It shouldn't.
I'm teasing.
Okay, good. Good, because if it did, I'd have to be doing some work.
Yes,
Yes.
Samurai Jack is classic. Great mustache. So let's see here. You know something? I think because it's always good to have the professional psychologist review past trauma. Why doesn't Alexandria give us a recap of what happened in the last, say, 10 minutes of the show last week? Or the week before, because we didn't do it last week because I wasn't feeling well.
So here's the fun thing. I went through, in order for my brain to process what happened, I went through at the end of our last session and wrote everything you said verbatim.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I can just read you the entire vision from beginning to end.
Well, go ahead then if you like.
And then in brackets, I've got little notes about what I personally thought about it.
Danny's gassed has been flabbered. I could just tell by the expression.
Trying.
Why do I get the feeling was like, I wrote it verbatim, but when I read it back, every now and again there's just what I can only assume is screaming written phonetically.
It's so strange.
I don't think
I
that
was just
in the
wondering
show.
how many ADHD people that you could have on a stream and without asking the question oh, you wrote it verbatim. What is it you were avoiding doing? You wrote all of this down.
Wow. Stream went live and you chose violence.
You know what? I'm fine with not. I'm fine with with not telling you how long the intro is now.
Look, someone pay attention to my facial expression. I was over here being quiet. I was minding my business.
I'm not reading it verbatim.
Shots fired.
I'm not reading it.
I appreciate that you did read it to us.
Oh no, I'm not reading it verbatim. No, because that the characters don't have that information. Alexandra doesn't even have that information, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I was just going to say that yes, while the players sort of had front row to the whole thing, what the characters only have access to what can be best described as a relatively disjointed summary on Alexandri's part.
Yes, which because Alexandria has got bits of it wrong, which is fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Awkward.
Because trauma.
Well, everything in the world is a bit shit. And I mean, La Chanson showed me a story, a horror story, and now I don't know if I'm supposed to be, I don't know, bringing about an apocalypse or stopping one? But the music suggests that maybe I'm supposed to start one. I don't know. I'm a little afraid. By little I mean very. I don't know if La Chanson is a giant or a god. I don't know why there was a familiar person. I am confused as to why Spider would tell me that he tells me the truth, and I don't know if that was a lie. Because maybe that was a lie, but then maybe it was also the truth, and I don't know. And part of the problem at the moment is I don't know if anything anyone tells me is maybe motivated by La Chanson, which is a bit of a problem.
That awkward moment where you're trying to figure out where the conspiracy starts and stops and whether or not you're the beneficiary or you're the victim.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I don't know if everything I am saying is motivated by La Chanson. If everyone, it's very confusing.
Yeah. All right. Spider. How are things with you?
Good, mate. Just getting myself situated in this new surroundings. Got some business to get set up so that we can start our forays into the unknown, as it were. And with any luck, we'll be able to go find my stupid brother soon.
Is that any way to talk about your brother?
Yes.
The only way, in fact.
I sense a potential for bitterness here.
He jumped through a portal.
Okay, point.
But yeah, things took an unexpected turn when I found out my soul made friends with a mass murdering Luoncon, but I'm sort of okay with it. They seem like good friends to have. And they're murdering like bad people, and people who would be competition for my business specifically, which is even better for me. So I think I'm okay with it. I've also been told to meet with the people who own the inn that we're staying in, and that they might have some insight into the underworld here in Cliff Spider. So that's helpful.
All right.
Unfortunately, I did also tell some town officials that I was a traveling professor, so I'm going to have to keep up that ruse, but that's all right.
You know, there is a saying that goes along the lines that if you only ever tell the truth, you only have one store to remember, right?
Sorry, tell the what?
That's what I thought you'd say. All right. Mysel, how are you?
Pretty good. I think I'm a bit out of practice.
Out of practice with what?
Well, I've never been... When I tap into the greater conscious, trying to look for an answer to a question, I've never been confused by the answer before in this kind of way. Though I guess it's good to know that my suspicion of what the connection was is actually the connection it was, and just wasn't able to explain that to them. But it does mean that there's a good chance that they're on our side, but it's not for sure that they're on our side, I guess.
Right.
I mean, they're pretty dangerous people. And it's good that they're seeming to wanting to protect Alexandre, but we don't know why or who asked them to. And those seem like important questions.
Those seem like valuable details to have, yes.
So I don't know if I want to wait for her to come back. I might try and have that conversation earlier. I think I can do now.
Do you think that would go? Do you think that she'd be the kind of person that you would want to leave the sensation that you're snooping into their affairs?
I feel like they're the kind of person that if I do that, I want them to be a distance.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Lots of time to explain the misunderstanding, you say.
I mean, I've already told them that I used abilities to see them. So like, I don't know. It could go badly. I'm hoping it won't, but there's a lot we don't know. Not just about this, just in general. Probably need to do something about that.
Okay. Well, and our resident avian friend, how are you doing?
Doing fine. Things are getting a fair bit weird, but could be worse. I'm really the kebabs were great. Those were great. Yep.
Everything else had some problems, you say?
No, I didn't say that. I just said I try to focus on when in doubt, focus on what's going right. And what I'm focusing on right now is that I had a great lunch and visions. Someone's having visions, and they all have powers. And I just work here. I don't know.
Okay.
When the kebabs are
How does it feel? How does it feel to be following around a bunch of people for reasons you don't fully understand, given the circumstances you find yourself in? Yeah, I thought you'd say that. All right.
I'm having a great time. It's exactly what I signed up for.
All Something perhaps the Doshamali forgot to mention, you say. Got it.
Literally everything they forgot to mention. I could have had more information. Would not speak ill of my employers. They are family to them, and so they're family to me. Let's do it.
All right. So, as I recall, you folks had been out in the square, out towards the open market. And then from there, you had been heading back to the Staggering Clock, entirely on the idea that Spider was supposed to be meeting up with the proprietors of said place to discuss the fact that Broxa had sent him along. So I have it as just after lunch going into early afternoon, time-wise. Is there anything you folks want to do before you were told that the owners would be in late afternoon towards supper time is usually when they show up, and then they're there basically all night. Right.
Yeah, I thought it was a little later than that, but that's also fine.
Alexandre will write down everything she saw, because
okay.
Memory degrades, and neurodivergence is a thing. So she'll write that down, because she knows her own memory is wonderful, but confused sometimes.
Okay. If you folks want, we can just essentially fast forward some time out to supper, if there's nothing that really needs to be done, as it were.
Alexander has a question for Kazra.
Yes.
You are keeping us alive.
More or less, yes.
Do you choose to do that, or?
It's a job.
No, I mean, do you just emanate oxygen?
Oh, you mean could I decide to just if I really wanted to?
Yeah.
Probably not. I've never tried.
I don't know if I want you to try. I'm not saying try. Don't try. No, don't try.
I wasn't thinking about trying. I just I've never thought about that before. Maybe, but I would have to try really hard. I'm not thinking about it now. A lot of Full 60, they have to if they want to carry someone around, but it's part of the job. The bush pilots, it's just kind of we balance. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm not thinking about it. It's just like I'm breathing. It's all good.
Do all Full Dixie do it?
No, it's a little bit harder for some people. It's why not everybody's a pilot. It just like the displacement of the weight and stuff like that. They could if they tried, but if you practice enough, you don't have to think about it. Flying a plane or riding a bike. Yeah.
Flying a plane or riding a bike, or just making it so people can breathe. They're not quite the same, but...
Or, okay, think about it swimming. If you swim,
yes,
you have to hold your breath to be under there.
Yes.
Whatever happens. Yeah, I've never been swimming, but that's not... Anyway, so you have to hold your breath to be down there, right?
Yeah.
And the first time you do it, you go under there and you can't breathe, and you have to think about it really, really hard so you don't accidentally just breathe through your nose or something. But after a while, you just automatically just don't, right?
I mean, if you try to breathe underwater, that's drowning.
Yeah, you have to try hard not to drown.
Okay.
I feel like I'm explaining this poorly, but I don't... if you're worried about me, I don't think I could do that without trying really, 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 really hard. And that seems impolite. And like the opposite of what I'm here to do. I'd get in trouble for sure.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm not a scientist.
I can tell.
Hey, neither are you.
No, I'm not, but that you are also not.
Well, that makes both of us that are not then. Kazra kind of like, she's thinking about it now, just to herself.
Like, how does that work? Like, how do I not turn it off by accident?
Sorry, did I turn off the air?
Masks descend from the top of.
Please secure your own mask before securing anyone else's.
Okay.
Oh dear.
While this conversation is happening, Mysel might try and have a quiet word with Spider.
Okay. Commence quiet wording.
And it probably is just like, the other two are having conversation and walking along, and Mysel's just sort of walking alongside Spider for a little bit before he says, "Are you actually afraid of Alexandre, like you said?"
It's an abstract fear, but yes, certainly.
I'm not afraid of her, afraid of the potential
She's
and
just
the lack of understanding of what it is.
She's incredibly powerful, and she's not entirely in control of her own power. That's very scary.
I'm not questioning it. I was just... I'm not unfamiliar with people being afraid of me for what I can do, despite the fact that being able to do it wasn't a choice. It doesn't feel great. Just so you're aware. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. I'm just... You might want to clarify it with Alexandre.
You make a good point, kid. I thought it would be more obvious to her by now that I choose to stick around.
I don't think you should assume things are obvious. Just in general, but probably particularly here.
I'm not real good at, like, saying things that I feel.
I know. You're in a situation where I would imagine with the people you normally, hung out with, a lot could go unsaid, but would still be understood. I don't think that's the case at all with Alexandre. And I think we're in a situation where we have a lot of unanswered questions. And that's in and of itself kind of scary. And I feel if you're not clear, and it'll probably be difficult because, like, you know, if she just assumes you're lying kind of thing. But if the worry is that she's not entirely in control, surely you don't want her to be concerned with other things. Even on that, even just on that level.
Good point. I thought keeping her close would mean that I didn't end up on the wrong end of the magic, but it didn't quite work out that way all the time.
Well, that also assumes that it's her magic that was doing it and not someone else's, which I realize is not a comforting thought by any stretch, but I mean, I've only been here a little while comparatively.
You're also dancing around the fringes of how much I actually understand about magic, but that's okay.
It's less, well, look, as I'm fond of saying, magic is weird. It doesn't follow rules, or at least one form of magic might follow rules and another might follow entirely different rules. Changes potentially person to person. But we're also dealing with a situation where I don't think it's entirely clear who all the players involved are. But they're powerful and old. And I'm certainly familiar with powerful and old. And the one thing in my experience is if you have to deal with something like that, you need people around you. And I think with Alexandre, it's going to be really important to make sure things are clear and not assume they're clear.
You make a good point. My old way of doing things ended up with my best friend stabbing me in the back and my entire life falling apart around me. So I will try and do things a different way.
Well, if I can help, let me know.
You already did, kid. Is it weird if I call you kid? I mean, you're like thousands of years older than me.
Wow. I'm also a kid.
Yeah. Lots to think about.
Yeah. I might be able to contact Chigalza before she gets back. It's not something I've been able to do, but I think I have an idea of how I might be able to do it, and I think I can manage it.
Like I said, you're lead on that project, so if you think it's a good idea, go for it.
It's more I don't know. But my point being, if it works, it opens up some possibilities, which I don't know if you'd be interested in, but they'd be available if you were.
when you look in on someone, how close are you to the situation?
How do you mean? Like I can see the area they're in up to a point. If everything goes correctly, I'm not noticed. But that's not necessary.
That's the bit I'm worried about. That if everything goes correctly,
it's not a guarantee. Sometimes it doesn't work, and in that case, usually they'll get a sense that something's happened. Sometimes it can work, but other people might know. Depends, in a way, on their.
Like when whoever's looking for Alexandria tries to look in.
Very similar, yeah.
Believe me, there is a very large part of my heart that wants you to try and find my brother for me. But at the same time, the person he followed was clearly incredibly dangerous and magically adept enough to literally tear open the fabric of reality and step from one place to another. Also, I'm not entirely sure I want to know what's happening to Lucas right now. I'm already doing everything I can.
I wasn't suggesting we do it, just letting you know we could.
I know. I wanted you to know that I hadn't not thought about it. Like I'm not anyway. Yeah.
To be honest, I hadn't, and I should have thought about it earlier. But I also realized, like as you say, probably some pretty powerful people around. Assuming he's.
Yeah, assuming he's not.
Assuming he's within reach, I guess.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, within reach. Yep. Yeah, of course. Did you enjoy your kebab, my son?
It was good, yeah. I do good kebabs. So I'm a little concerned that we have to be concerned about the meat and where it came from.
I think Kazma might just be a little bit paranoid about the idea of getting eaten.
Yeah.
People don't generally just, eat people.
I know. Still. I don't know. It's not a worst case. I'm sure the vegetarian options are fine.
I don't know if this is the kind of adventure my brother had in mind when we left the capital.
I don't think any adventure is the kind of adventure you assume it is when you set off. It's kind of the point of the adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a holiday.
I like that.
Yeah, that's probably a good point to leave that little moment.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, actually. So yeah. So okay. Anything else that has to happen before supper, do you think?
Not for me.
Okay. So, it will be back at the staggering clock. The Staggering Clock is, like most places of its kind, one of those places that has a particular sag in its tempo. Early morning, late morning is when everyone leaves, and the place gets pretty quiet until late afternoon, which is when everyone comes back. And everyone being an entirely potentially different to everyone than last night. It's a big city. It's, Cliff Spider is not a small place. There's an awful lot going on. It's a bustling place where there's a certain amount of the population that changes every day based on, whatever's coming and going via the caravan gate, and then whatever's coming and going versus via the Voyager's gate, right? And so, in the course of a week, basically, there's out of I think it's 8,000, 9,000 person population the average population, I think, is 8,009 and a bit. In the course of a week, there's probably 700 people who, that are different here than they were last, that are different than were listed last week. It's just a constant flow of people coming and going. And so places like the Staggering Clock are always popular. Again, it's not. I don't think in a huge way it's terribly different than any other major mercantile city that any of you have been to. And I think perhaps for Spider at least, that possibly is one of the oddest things about it, is there's sort of an immediate familiarity even within the alienness of a place that has trolls and orcs strolling the streets. And the city guard not really paying them any mind.
I know that's that much more unusual than having Dragonborn and humans strolling the street to me.
The thing is that, Dragonborn, and whatever are sort of have a reputation for being civilized at some level, whereas, let's be blunt, orcs and trolls don't. Orcs and trolls are generally the sort of things that are, in most places, are basically, if you see one in a town, it's because you've been invaded. Okay.
I reckon reputations are good things to have and not very good things to trust in.
Mm-hmm. A very eloquent way of summarizing things. That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've made it back to the Staggering Clock, which is, of course, in the P&B house, the pubs and bed houses district, just across the two bridges. The place is bustling, as sort of one of those, fairly simple fare kinds of places, above and beyond the fact that it's got a remarkably good, it has, speaking of reputation, it is an excellent reputation as a place to stay. It's a good sized place. The food is good. The rooms are good. The common rooms got plenty of space, plenty of private rooms. It's not too expensive. And so, yeah. So you folks are hanging out, waiting for the owners to arrive, Gale and Rain, right? And yes. So, sitting at the table, having a good meal, waiting. What's on about, as it were?
Yeah, I think probably sitting in the common room. And all I have really is the word of a serving girl of when these people turn up.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. I was gonna say that Kaz has a since this seems like the kind of place where a lot of people come and go and might like leave things. She has picked up a book, and is like reading at the table.
I love it. Yep.
It seems to be like a history book of sorts, and like she's just like trying to like read up on any of the things that they are talking about, like that may like not for here, just for the Confederacy, like in general. Like she's sort of trying to like get a hold on all of these events that they're talking about, and Maisel being very, very old, et cetera, et cetera. Like, she's like, I want to learn. I think I'm curious about the world now. Cool.
We've all been there. We've all
funny.
been through that one. Help.
All right. Is anyone else at the table with Spider, or is he going this alone?
I don't know. Alexandria would. Anything is better than her thoughts right now. So, there's a book, and that's interesting.
I just want to clarify. Was that a challenge?
No.
You know what? Yeah, it was.
Oh, bring it on, she says.
Yeah, I mean, anything is better. Anything for Alexandria. For Alexandria, anything is better right now.
No, yeah, Cass is definitely at the table. She's just reading. Like, she's sort of like sitting at the end of the table in one of those full 60 chairs.
Yep. All right.
I think it definitely has the feeling like we've been there for some time. Spider's probably writing in a notebook, and everyone's just in their own world.
Holding this corner of the place down. We've been here for a while.
No, Alexandria's not in her own world. No, everything that everyone else is doing is infinitely interesting. Infinitely interesting.
It sounds like Maisel and Alexandria are playing some sort of card game or something.
No! Alexandria can't focus on anything.
In that case, Kaz does read aloud every so often, just like, did you know that when the Giantkin took over for the first time, like they, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, she's just like reading out fun facts, like whenever she comes across them.
Scale of 1 to 10, how often does Maisel correct that?
It's gotta be like a 9, like with 10, like 10 being the most, like 1 being the least. It's gotta be like a 9, because I feel like a lot of the stuff she's saying is like a vast like misunderstanding of what she's reading.
I'm just gonna say, first off, there's the whole book written up to 800 years after events, followed by then interpreted from somebody else's work, followed by then interpreted by a full 60.
It's the Bible.
I mean, yeah.
But like King James version.
So some people are really big on it being correct.
Literal.
Yep.
In fact, must be literal.
Well, and I mean, and almost by definition, the argument you would get from anyone that if it's a book printed in the Progress Confederacy, is it would make no sense to have an inaccurate history book. Thus, all history books published within the Progress Confederacy are accurate.
What purpose could an inaccurate history book possibly serve?
That's not at all a dangerous mindset to have.
Blair's in Texas. I am from the United States. I have a lot to say.
Early on, I had given you folks a quote about actually how books were and school curricula were amended, and it's like a 3-paragraph quote to basically say, no, we're not changing anything. It's the Confederacy has its the Confederacy has its perks, it has its benefits, but it does have its blind spots. Well, there's no doubt there.
Alexandria has more questions though now. Oh no.
Questions are better than thoughts.
Questions are better than thoughts. So you're reading these random fun facts out.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote that?
It looks like I do. Master, I do think it's a confederacy, like a textbook, like probably like for like maybe like a middle age, like a child, like a middle school child. Like, so I guess it depends, but I mean, it looks like it was definitely written by a human. But one of your guys probably. It's got that sort of, it's got a confederacy kind of look to it, doesn't it? She kind of holds it up like by the.
I think their name is Et al.
Who is
It's all.
who is Anon et al?
Anon et al.
Anon
And then there's like,
et al.
and then there's an et cetera here as well.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess that's who wrote it. Yeah,
okay.
Anon et al. And et cetera.
May I see that?
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
Michelle, what does it say on full 60?
It says nothing on full 60. The book is approximately 45 years old.
Oh,
They weren't here.
Well, not only that,
But-
by definition, it's wrong. It's out of date by almost a full generation, like literally a full generation of exploration. There's no mention of the Anvil Heart Company or the airship. Like,
yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, because they would have been around here. What?
the book is literally contemporaneous to the events and therefore does not record them because it wasn't history.
That does make sense. So Alexandria would not have read this book, or anything
No,
similar.
In point of fact, that book is actually from the Deliverance of the Dawn.
Is there any mention in it of how they see the gods? Like they're like, is there anything about that?
I'll tell you what, I will ask you to make a learning roll. To basically fiddle your way through the book, find something coherent in, your classic inch thick, or 30 millimeter thick, 45 centimeters long kind of, heavy bound tome. It's not a pocket novel she's got there.
Next time, choose the dummies version.
I thought this was the Tommy's version.
That's a 15.
A 15, all right. The Deliverance of the Dawn view. So, all right. Let's take it from the top. So the first off is that worship is unique to each area. So, in other words, the Deliverance of the Dawn, first off, has got an entire different chunk of the pantheon they consider important. That's the first thing. I will leave it up to you as to whether or not that would have even crossed Alexandria's mind. That,
Nope.
That the Progress Confederacy and the Deliverance of the Dawn literally value different saints and lords and ladies and different saints and different divinities. So that's the first thing that immediately crosses your mind, that immediately comes to your notice. There is some overlap, but at the same time, there's an awful lot of, what, but why would you, but that makes no sense, but they're more important, etc., right? Alexandria is incredibly strongly opinioned. She has the zealot flaw. So the first thing that is her first reaction is, why would you do it that way? Right? She's a good girl of the Confederacy, if you will. So there is going to be that immediate, first off, they've even got their deity list wrong. Right? After that, the other thing you notice is that they have a bigger, they seem to put more value on the gods than the ascended saints. In other words, the balance of who is being worshipped at what level and who is principal worship versus minor worship. The Confederacy seems to value the ascended saints more than the prime divinities. The Deliverance of the Dawn is the other way around. The Deliverance of the Dawn views, whereas the Confederacy, if you will, considers in a Chinese redux kind of way, The Confederacy views the processes of heaven very much in the same style of governance, if you will, that they are managed here on Earth. And as such, the churches themselves, the temples themselves, the shrines themselves, the clergy themselves are the principal telephones, if you will, to passing the message up the chain to the right person in the celestial management, if you will, the celestial bureaucracy. The Deliverance of the Dawn has this really odd idea that they don't even bother with a phone. It's like, if you plan on going traveling, just pop by Curiel's temple and say, yo, babe, I'm hoofing here in 10 minutes. I got sandwiches. Can you cover my back? That it's a level of familiarity that is practically heretical. That's an overused term, but borders, it's almost an offensively casual level of familiarity with their... particularly with the prime divinities.
I don't want to ask.
Go ahead, I dare you.
I don't want to ask because it's so early in the game. I don't want to use a Whisper of the Wild. Then I don't know which one I would use it for. I have 2 questions now. This is how this works, isn't it? Which question is going to be more important? And how to phrase it, because she's trying to be careful.
I'm just going to say, so hang on a sec. So is the objective here to completely derail poor Spider's ability to get to see his new gnomes, or what are we up to here?
I mean, my intention is never to derail, but I have ADHD, so it's never the intention, but it's always the outcome. Like, it's never deliberate. It just happens. I'm gonna I'll think about it. I'm gonna think, and Alexandri's reading into this more, because it's wrong. And it's weird.
It is the wrong, yep.
She will read it out loud, though, and say,
okay,
why are they so weird?
You seem to not like the book very much. I don't
it's
know.
Not...
What do you mean by weird?
But I don't think it's... I mean, it's not that I don't like the book. I just... This isn't Confederate.
It's not?
No. This is from...
Well, who do you...
It's from the Deliverance of the Dawn.
What's the difference?
Different part of the world for start.
Well, okay. Valid.
One's in points in direction, the other's in points in other direction.
It just
probably
looks like
probably relatively accurately.
Is the Confederacy involved in the Deliverance of the Dawn?
No.
Definitely yes.
I'm getting some mixed responses.
I mean, they interact.
So what's the difference?
Well, they're wrong.
Well, they're not
Says
wrong.
who?
Well, the book is
different.
wrong.
Says who?
In what way? What way is it wrong?
Well,
I mean, besides the information that was wrong, but that's, that was a lot of time. So
the way that they don't, the way they talk to the divinities.
Oh, they worship differently. Yeah, everyone does that.
Yeah.
What?
The way that you did it was very different than... I mean,
Everyone
we went down... I took you down there. Yeah.
Everyone has their own way of worshiping.
Well, I mean, they do it right here.
they do it right there as well. There's not a right way. There's just the way they do it.
No. No, they did it wrong. Well, I don't know.
I mean, if your song thing is your Chanson is like a worship like type thing, it like doesn't work on me. So like maybe it's just like, you know, like not everything works for everybody. So they try different stuff.
What would make it like you would assume if it was wrong, it wouldn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they get the same outcome.
Well, I don't know if they get the same outcome.
Let me tell you, they get the same outcome. So as much as you can say that, you know, the way it's done in the Confederacy gets the results required, the same can be said in the Deliverance and in the Empire as well, and they're different again. And that's just the main. Those are currently the big three, but there's more different variations all over, and over time and over location. Many forms of, just as like there's different types of magic, there's different types of worship, like there's different languages, there's different people. They're not wrong, they're just a different way of doing things.
I think La Chanson might be from the Deliverance of the Dawn.
Your song person. Your song.
What makes you say that?
Well, the way that they are talking to their divinities is just to talk to their divinities.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if they talk back in the same way as with you.
Well, you said they were getting the same outcome, but then I also don't know if La Chanson is a divinity, so I know it's not a saint because it waits outside.
Yeah, definitely sure seems to like divinities.
I mean, it could be a saint that doesn't like other saints.
Is there anything in this book about what's her name? Good Carve.
Jenny.
Good Carves McGee. Genevieve Malfia.
Learning roll, please.
Learning roll. Ooh, wait, that means there's a maybe.
Mm-hmm. Under normal conditions, I would just do the yay nay. I'm more using the role as a judge of how much you pull out of it versus because the book is essentially written in a style you're not used to, right? In the terms of the way it's like many other things that change by culture. Something as simple as how you learn and how you talk about history changes between each of the three major empires, right?
There's a picture of her in the dust cover.
There's just a picture of a calf in anatomy, and it's hers.
No, it's like a ground up shot.
Oh no, that's a 10.
That's a 10.
Oh, that doesn't sound very good.
Well, I think the best way of explaining that is mixed results. And what I mean by that is that, you don't actually find anything about Genevieve Malfia, but you do find her grandmother.
Ooh.
Her grandmother.
Yeah.
As if she doesn't have one. She has a grandmama.
Only I have a grandmama.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. It took you the reason that the 10 is sort of a near miss, if you will, is because it took you about 4 tries of flipping back and forth and going, well, I know this, but that doesn't line up. But the biggest single thing is the spelling of the last name was different, and what you basically conclude is that's the difference. It takes you a little while to basically figure out that it's the difference in how the the Confederacy interprets some letters from an intermediate language compared to the way that the Deliverance does. And so the name is spelt differently. But you're pretty sure that it maps with other information you've read in other places.
What does it say about her grandmother?
One second. Posted to chat, to the Twitch chat.
Oh. No, that's not her grandmother.
It's the closest you can line up, and some of the circumstantial evidence around it. Basically, the history is written by the victors, and this book is written by the Deliverance of the Dawn. This is a blood-drinking, devil-worshipping witch whose entire barony led insurrection against the noble taskings of the Deliverance, and was raised, laid fallow, and salted, thus that she nor any of her undead minions might ever rise again. They Carthaged her.
That's the kind of thing Cass would have read out loud.
Didn't we find out earlier that
No.
that would just be Jenny?
Yeah.
That sounds like what we found out about Jenny when we discovered that she's old.
Yes, but the point is that what you actually realize is that you have enough information between this, another bit of research you've done, and now looking at a book from the Deliverance to realize they're 2 different people.
Oh. Interesting.
It's not that Genevieve is 120 years old. It's that most likely you're dealing with her granddaughter, is what you are able to piece together. They killed
Heck
a
yeah.
couple of times over Baroness de Malfear.
Yeah.
Past the time.
So.
Does Baroness de Malfear, is that a name that rings bells for Mysel?
I'm going to say probably not, just because the time scale that that Mysel and Hero tend to operate at. Anytime that something the size of a war is going on, you two tend to dig a hole and hide, because that's exactly the sort of time that everyone's looking for something weird.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And so about 120 years ago was the tail end of the Great War, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check my timeline.
Well,
I think the timeline
that
says
is what
like
we knew
100.
of. About 100.
It's right around that window. It's either at the tail end or just before the end of the war, if I remember correctly. I'm just double checking the timeline. General world history. The Great War was 100 to 90 years before the modern era. Modern era year. So keep in mind that the timeline goes backwards from present day. So yeah, so just before the events of the Great War. So sometime in the 20 years before the Great War, 20 to 30 years before the Great War is when the Deliverance decided they'd had more than enough of her chicanery.
How does she know about La Chanson?
Well, I guess it might add a bit of credence to that idea that La Chanson is somehow connected to the deliverance. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
We lost
That's not
Michelle.
Lost God.
We lost God. You know what? It's a good time for a break.
Yes,
Anyway.
It is a good time for a break.
Take a break, y'all.
Want dinner?
Want dinner? We shall return soon.
We shall return.
Why hands?
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
You.
Think they would be afraid.
You look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me?
Depends
In
on
that
your
case-
answer.
My name is Michel Vaillancourt. I'm the games master and storyteller for Unlawful Disorder. I've been asked to give a summary of events of the game, but that seems a little strange because, well, that's the job of the players. Don't ask me what the story is, I'm just the guy telling it. So, let's talk about how we got here. So, about a year ago, I saw a bunch of really talented people doing some really cool stuff, and I thought, well, that's cool, I'll have to keep them in mind. And a little while after that, I got a call from a roleplay channel asking me to set up a game. They wanted a European time zone friendly game. So I went back and I called up the cool people doing the cool stuff. So that would be Chantel and company. Cool. So, after that, we took a little bit of time, discussed a good D&D campaign, and I brought forward one of my homebrew worlds. And they looked at me and said, no.
You're sure he's not going to eat me?
He's not gonna eat you.
Okay, I'm a friend then.
Depends
In
on
that
your
case,
answer.
It's not the name that's on the bounty, and that's all that matters to me.
Okay. Now I just have to remember to respond to it.
Well, you'll do that, won't you, Eric? Eric,
Are you going to eat them?
Considers it.
By the way, you have no clue what she's on about. Like, you've never seen one of these things before.
he's a vegan!
oh, what?
Definitely don't know what that is.
I don't care what he is. He's got big teeth.
You do have big teeth. Nothing.
Hero's grasp of the trade tongue is
Oh,
body.
do you? Oh, do you? What do you eat them?
Sort of looks back up. I will not consume that
person.
Could you be a little more generic and just say you're not going to consume anyone in the city as well? Just to make it easier.
That'd be great.
So reverting back to elders, like
Just try.
language.
know?
I'm not gonna eat people.
I know you're not going to eat people.
Language is hard.
I know. Just say it the way I'm telling you to say it. I'm not going to eat the city.
I'm not gonna eat the city.
Yes.
I'm not gonna eat the city. Mental image got too funny.
Why hands?
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
You.
Think they might be afraid.
You look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me?
Depends
In
on
that
your
case-
answer.
My name is Michel Vaillancourt. I'm the games master and storyteller for Unlawful Disorder. I've been asked to give a summary of events of the game, but that seems a little strange because, well, that's the job of the players. Don't ask me what the story is, I'm just the guy telling it. So, let's talk about how we got here. So, about a year ago, I saw a bunch of really talented people doing some really cool stuff, and I thought, well, that's cool, I'll have to keep them in mind. And a little while after that, I got a call from a roleplay channel asking me to set up a game. They wanted a European time zone friendly game. So I went back and I called up the cool people doing the cool stuff. So that would be Chantel and company. Cool. So, after that, we took a little bit of time, discussed a good D&D campaign, and I brought forward one of my homebrew worlds. And they looked at me and said, no.
You're sure he's not gonna eat me?
He's not gonna eat you.
Okay, I'm a friend then.
Depends
In
on
that
your
case,
answer.
It's not the name that's on the bounty, and that's all that matters to me.
Okay. Now I just have to remember to respond to it.
Well, you'll do that, won't you, Eric? Eric,
Are you going to eat them?
Considers it.
By the way, you have no clue what she's on about. Like, you've never seen one of these things before.
he's a vegan!
oh, what?
Definitely don't know what that is.
I don't care what he is. He's got big teeth.
You do have big teeth. Nothing.
His grasp of the trade tongue is
Oh,
body.
do you? Oh, do you? What do you eat them?
Sort of looks back up. I will not consume that person.
Could you be a little more generic and just say you're not going to consume anyone in the city as well? Just to make it easier.
That'd be great.
So reverting back to Elvish, like
Just try.
language.
know?
I'm not gonna eat people.
I know you're not going to eat people.
Language is hard.
I know. Just say it the way I'm telling you to say it. I'm not going to eat the city.
I'm not gonna eat the city.
Yes.
Not gonna eat the city.
Yes.
I'm not gonna eat the city.
Sam,
Mental image got too funny.
Why hands?
Have you considered that you might like a disguise that doesn't involve being wrapped up in veils?
Yes.
Will you let me do your makeup?
No.
You
Think they'd be afraid.
You look like you need a ride. You look like you need a ride. I'm here to help, but I don't think that I can fit your friend there. Can you ask them if they are going to eat me?
Depends
In
on
that
your
case-
answer.
My name is Michel Vaillancourt. I'm the games master and storyteller for Unlawful Disorder. I've been asked to give a summary of events of the game, but that seems a little strange because, well, that's the job of the players. Don't ask me what the story is, I'm just the guy telling it. So, let's talk about how we got here. So, about a year ago, I saw a bunch of really talented people doing some really cool stuff, and I thought, well, that's cool, I'll have to keep them in mind. And a little while after that, I got a call from a roleplay channel asking me to set up a game. They wanted a European time zone friendly game. So I went back and I called up the cool people doing the cool stuff. So that would be Chantel and company. Cool. So, after that, we took a little bit of time, discussed a good D&D campaign, and I brought forward one of my home worlds.
We have returned. Hello.
Okay. Hello. And thank you for joining us, Extraterrestrial 51. And no, it wasn't you that broke it. It was actually me. My machine here, stone cold frozen. Just bang, everything stopped working. Keyboard key didn't work. Yeah. My first test is double tap the caps lock and see if the light goes on or off. No, done. Only thing left at that point is the power button. Hey, KJ. So, right then, what was the last thing you heard from me?
What did I last write down? Let's see. Grandmother, granddaughter's looking, 100 years pre-modern. We were talking about history.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, okay, then it literally clipped pretty much as soon as I was done the lecture, which is convenient, if awkward punctuation.
I guess what was the last thing you heard from us?
Yeah.
Was me wrapping up the bit about that, the Great War. I told you that they had I think the actual last thing I said was they had literally Carthaged the area that she had declared her barony, and it was just about then that I realized the machine had locked up.
Yeah, I think we
had a little conversation about that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, then I didn't hear that.
I don't remember the contents of that. Though.
Yeah. But yes, the which in and of itself is an interesting observation about the deliverance of the dawn as well, I suppose.
Oh, I think I think Chantel queried mostly to themselves that, how is it that if Jenny isn't 120 years old, how is it that they seem to know about La Chanson and Praetorians, and sort of like maybe gives more credence to the idea that La Chanson is connected to the deliverance as well.
Yes.
But like everything else, it's a lot of maybe.
It's all what? Oh, it's a lot of maybe.
It's a lot of maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, it's all undone, baby. I'm confused. Sometimes my brain hears not the truth.
You're fine, Chantel.
It's all alarm. So I
Google Meet runs the captions for your head as well.
Between audio processing and Google Meet, yes. Actually, yes. Yeah, I still don't know what to do. Alexandria's just... Michelle, I have needs.
I got nothing safe. Carry on.
I require an understanding of recent history. So, Alexandria's grandmother, 50 years ago.
One sec. Just one moment.
Yes.
Jamie, you've been sort of patiently waiting here. Are you okay with the history lesson, or would you like us to cut over to your scene, get a little progress on your set?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You're good? Okay, you've been waiting patiently for like 3 sessions now, and I just didn't want to...
Have this one conversation. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I know what to expect. These are my friends. I like playing with them.
All right, then.
The game will proceed at the pace that it proceeds. I don't know.
Yes, very good.
Slowly.
And it will arrive no sooner, yes. All right, carry on with your query about history.
Alexandra's grandmother, 50 years ago.
Yes.
Active. Genevieve's grandmother, 120 years ago. Active. Genevieve visibly looks older than Alexandria, but not...
Genevieve, I'm just going to say, the woman that you have been battling, I believe I've described as looking to be in her mid-30s. So she would be about twice, somewhere in the vicinity of twice Alexandria's age.
And she was a half-elf, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They lived for a while.
A little bit.
Yeah, that reminds me, Danny, the way I do the more long-lived races is just about all of them have the same gestation and adolescence period. In other words, everyone gets into the 20 to 23 bracket at about the same time, and then the slowdown circuit kicks on, and that's when you start seeing various races actually... everyone looks at each other when they're 40, and the orc looks like he's 90, and the elf looks like he's still 21.
I see. Gotcha. Makes sense.
They all look the same at 21, but it's as you go further down the road, we find out that some people have got more gas in the tank.
I see.
That tank gas. So... Okay. Oh, I have more questions. None of this is helpful. Sorry, I'm just sitting here in silence. Let's...
That is not silence. That's not at all what silence sounds like. I'm not even convinced that thing that Danny's doing right now qualifies as silence. I think Jamie's getting closest to it.
It's not silent in my head. There's just nothing that the captions are picking up.
That's the point. I think that's the point.
I'm thinking so hard. I'm working so
Yes,
hard
you
right
are.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, what I wouldn't give for a Praetorian around now, you know?
I don't know if they serve that here, but we can ask.
I'm sorry? That's not... Oh! Why would you in black and white? Why would you in black and white? Why would you? What were you thinking? Why do you hate me?
Somebody clip that.
I didn't mean to do that. It was just the one that was there.
Yes, you did.
I didn't mean to specifically use black and white one. It was just the one that was. I didn't realize I'd need to scroll up, so I just saw the white mask and clicked.
Incredible.
Chantel begins rocking back and forth in her chair. Not Alexandre.
One more question.
Uh-huh.
Are Praetorian in this book?
No mention of them anyway.
No mention of Praetorian. No mention of a song.
Nope.
No mention of magical music.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, other than the usual bard dribble, but yeah.
It's bard. Wait, usual bard drivel?
Well, yes. Everyone knows that the bards of the Deliverance of the Dawn have got it. They have a college that basically teaches them how to weave magic with song. Everybody knows that. It's the usual thing.
Oh no, Jamie, I'm sorry. I have to ask. What does it say? What does it say about bards?
Oh, okay. Learning roll then, please.
Ooh. 25.
What?
Man.
I got an 18, and then I got a 4, and then I got a 4. Oh, then I got a 3. 18, 3, 4.
Yeah, 25.
Math.
Okay.
Numbers.
Yep, math. It is hard.
We all did it.
Yep. So, no, the reason I asked you what you rolled was because I heard was 5. And so the Vivit was a little indistinct,
Vivit.
and I didn't...
In future, now you know Vivit 5 means.
45
Yeah.
is what was said.
Yeah, math gives me a rash. Exactly.
I am not math.
I
will not give you a rash.
All right, a 25. Do you remember a particular cousin of yours that held a rock concert?
Yes, I do.
A rock
Mickey?
opera? Yeah, you suddenly have an explanation for her.
A magical explanation. An explanation of the magic?
An explanation for the exact style of magic that she practices.
Interesting.
Now, there's a couple of things that don't line up, but there are so many other things that do line up that you kind of go, oh, really? So how did you learn that then, girl? So it turns out the Deliverance of the Dawn has a literal, a college of song and knowledge. That is it's the enlightened college of song and knowledge. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a place that literally Of course, the Deliverance of the Dawn is this is a book written by the victors, if you will. It is therefore written within the context of things that are favorable to the Deliverance of the Dawn. Okay. And I'm saying that because what they're basically describing is, in very modern terms, 2 parts Mick Jagger, 3 parts folk music, 1 part James Bond. They are literally the bards of the Enlightened College are the soft power extension of the Deliverance of the Dawn. These are the folks who travel the world because no one pays attention to the minstrel in the corner. They're just a minstrel, right? I kind of like that one over there. No one pays attention to the minstrel. And the bards of the Enlightened use their magic to, at large, sway opinion.
Interesting.
And they use a blend of magic and performance to render people, and again, this is way too overstated, make people more open to their message. I don't want to use to say make them more open to suggestion, because that sounds like, yeah, they're rewriting people's hypnotic event or what. No, it's by the time you're done, they have blown past your prejudices, and they have kind of gotten into the core of you so that you get the message without the filters. And that's kind of how you all felt about dealing with Ramiki, remember?
Mm-hmm.
The longer her show went on, the more you all thought, I get why she has to do this. This is important. The fact that it created a riot and someone tried to poison her kind of is almost a footnote now, right?
Does it say anything about where that magic comes from?
That's actually the 25. Yeah, it's literally being delivered specifically by one of the deities, by one of the prime divinities. It has nothing to do with the Chanson. And that's the part that doesn't line up with your experience with Ramiki, because you distinctly remember that moment where both of you threw back your hoods and screamed a banshee wail in perfect unison.
Yeah.
So obviously, her training, if you will, started out having something to do with the with your guessing. She is a graduate of the Enlightened College. But what happened on that street had nothing to do with that. The concert, the rock opera, whatever you want to call it, that was absolutely... You're reading this going, oh, wow, I can even see how she structured the play here, right? But that moment stands out, where you and she were united by the Song of the World.
Alexandria will read that out as well. And say... And we'll recount... We met someone in Glitter Delta Cove who did a concert, and she used this magic.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Ramiki.
No, sorry. There was a guy who'd hang around one of the bars in the capital. He only had 7 fingers. He got kicked out of some... He used to go on and on about it when he was drunk.
Which fingers was he missing?
It was on both hands, which actually makes it kind of interesting. I don't know. I never got the story out of him. But he used to go on and on about how he was going to be a great performer or something, and then he lost his finger.
But
they're just, minstrels, performers, they're all just completely intolerable people, really.
looks to camera.
You mentioned that they would say that it comes. Does it come from the divinities, or does it come from a divinity?
God of Atil, God of knowledge.
Atil.
Oh, interesting.
Direct line.
Who needs priests when you've got bards?
Right. They play a chord, but I can only do that on the violin. I can't do it on the guitar, and I don't have a violin here.
I'm just imagining Tullio now from El Dorado, just going ding.
That's what I was thinking.
Ukulele is just a really is either just a really small guitar or a really awkward violin. Carry on. I mean,
yeah. How do you phrase a? All right, cool, great. It's good to learn things, but Spider, the problem is, right? That she didn't just use magic from Atil, she used magic from La Chanson, because we...
Sorry, what?
What?
Ramiki used the song.
I thought so.
When did that happen?
When we were fighting Genevieve. Oh, you ran away. You don't know.
I didn't run away. I was chasing the person who summoned Genevieve across the rooftops. I'm sorry. Just trying to work out what actually was going on.
But, it doesn't matter now. All is forgiven. The thing is, at the beginning of that fight, I tried to make them afraid of me, and Ramiki did the same thing at the same time. I don't know.
Interesting.
I just don't know.
Maybe they're related.
Ramiki and Genevieve? I hope not.
No. The other ones, the other names you said.
Oh, Atil, the god?
Yeah. Why not?
What? Are divinities...
Song thing. I don't know.
Whisper of the Wild. Here we go. Finally, I got there. Figured out which one is more important for Alexandria to know at this precise moment.
Hang on. You've still no, you'll have to wait. There's at least 20 minutes left in the show.
Okay, cool. I'm good. I'm good. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
You open one book.
This is fine. This is why we don't read, because it leads to questions, people. It leads to questions. We don't want to learn.
I'm just visiting. I had no idea.
How would you?
I didn't know it would be like this.
Michelle, in the next setting, can there have been a Fahrenheit 451 situation and all the books have been burned?
All the books have been burned, yeah.
No books!
Oh, no, the problem is then if we find one, it becomes even more...
Yeah. Why didn't this one burn?
I was about to say, okay.
Careful what you wish for.
No. I mean, it might just be a no. That's really easy. It solves the problem. Are you a deity? Are you a divinity?
Okay, those are two different questions.
Sorry,
Which
I
one
meant
did you
divinity,
ask?
not deity.
Okay. Are you a divinity? Michelle's trying to work through that question.
Looking for holes in that.
It's fun that you've said that same thing that you said last time, where a no is very simple, but a yes makes things infinitely more
I feel
complicated.
like both are a bit cause problems, frankly.
Yeah. In this case, then you will receive a very simple no.
Okay. La Chanson's not a divinity, so they're not. Atil can't be related to La Chanson because La Chanson is not a divinity.
Well, what is it then? Is that a big question? Never mind.
I mean, it's that way.
It's in the middle of the plains, Kazra. It's where we're going.
The song is in a physical place?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just in your heart or mind or
also, I suppose. Maybe.
Guess I'll find out soon enough. I retract my question. I told myself I was gonna stop doing that, and well, just you seem so surprised by the book. I got curious. I take it all back.
You can have the book back now if you want it.
Kaz kind of takes the book. She pages through it. She's like, maybe that's enough learning for today. Starts reading the table of contents instead. Just like,
oh no, no, don't do it. The amount of information you can get from the.
I was just gonna say, and then you encounter that awkward line that says, "If you find yourself near someone named Alexandri, skip to page 277 immediately." Yeah. Right then.
We're waiting on someone.
All right. So just so a few minutes after the I'm not going to say confusion has settled because I'm not sure that's ever a thing that happens in this campaign, but the current circumstances have evened out somewhat. 2 gnomes and a mechanical camel arrive at your table.
Please repeat.
I said 2 gnomes on a mechanical camel arrive at your table.
Thanks for that.
Rain and Gale, right, was their name?
Yes.
And the camel's name?
Yeah, I think...
Broxa didn't give you last names.
Yeah. As they approach, Switch raises his glass and is like, the proprietors, I presume.
Indeed we are. That's Rain, and I'm Gale. They point at each other in alternation. The only way they are in twins in that sort of mirror universe kind of way. They pretty much look the same, except that Gale has silver hair and violet eyes, and Rain has violet hair and silver eyes.
That's very cool.
Their hairstyles are identical. Their clothing is otherwise identical, but like I say, these 2 absolutely hello kind of details, you'll never confuse them, even though they look functionally identical.
It's amazing.
I love that.
It's lovely to make your acquaintance, ladies.
Oh, we've been told a lot about you. Broxa sent a message up on the last courier this morning. Yeah, apparently you're quite the entrepreneur.
Well, it saves me an awful lot of explaining. Indeed, I am working on a new line of acquisition for our mutual friend.
Brooks is a wonderful customer of ours. We work very hard together, and we both profit admirably. There's just some things that we do better, and some things she does better, and no point in fighting cross odds about it.
So that's just good business, right?
Well, you wouldn't believe how many people, particularly in this city, don't understand that very simple detail. By the way, this is getting really weird because they're literally switching back and forth as to who's speaking a sentence. I'm delivering it as a constant monologue, but they're literally, every time there's a period, the other one starts talking.
I like it.
Sure,
Somehow I already understood that.
Okay.
Yeah, I could tell. Yeah.
So if you will, it is is it a dromedary? Is the one with the two humps? So they're sitting essentially in what looks like a barbecue pagoda, suspended on the two humps of a steampunk mechanical camel. Now, if you've never seen a camel in character, that's puzzling enough. The fact that it's a wind-up toy, literally with the big key on the back, is probably doubly confusing.
That's quite a.
It winds up, by the way, that the top of their pagoda lines up just about table level. So them sitting on their pillows look like are sitting about eye level with everyone else at the table.
It's quite an impressive vehicle.
Gale chuckles and says, "Hobby horse, yeah." We won it in a card game. Absolutely ridiculous story. We'll have to tell you sometime over some really expensive liquor. Mostly because you wouldn't believe us if you were sober.
Well, I am partial to a game of cards, though not with friends generally.
Well, yeah. There's no such thing as having a fun game of cards with friends. You're either playing cards or you have friends.
Sage nodding between Spider and the women. Well, I do have some questions about business in town, but would you care to join us for dinner, or do you have duties to attend to?
Oh, everybody knows where we are. That's the other half of the reason for the obnoxious ride around. It's pretty obvious where we are at any given moment. Someone will, if they need to talk to us, will be right on over to do so. So, yeah, we'd love to spend a few minutes getting to know our new apparent intermediary business partner. They kind of look at each other. Where did you come up with that one? I don't know. I just made it up. Okay, fine.
I think, Switch kills some time doing business stuff with them that isn't that interesting, to us as players and whatever. They just talk about actual business stuff, which is kind of boring. Mm-hmm. But the line... Sorry, go ahead.
So what is the lean that Switch, if you will, is pursuing? Are you actually discussing organizing an exploratory caravan into the heart of the continent, or have you got i.e. something close to the truth, or are you instead going to be the first successful biscuit miner that the plateau has known?
I think he's trying to be surreptitious about it's clear that their line of business is going to take them out of the city onto the plains somewhere, but that at this point he's not giving more away than that.
Right, okay.
But that there'll be plenty of business to do between them. I think though the lean of the conversation that I want to steer towards after the stuff that isn't as interesting is talking about the situation in the city.
Sure.
And getting to know the big players in their line of business. And I guess that's sort of the question is so who, what, and when do I need to be aware of?
All right. So Michelle is going to get meta for a moment because it's going to be it's going to be a 20-minute conversation interspersed with blobs of thieves' cant, bluntly. Okay.
With all of us just sitting there
yeah, I was just going to say, so a lot of it's terribly fascinating, and then there's a discussion about tennis scores.
Yeah.
And then there's this really cool bit about how the political structure of the northern end of the town was recently reshaped by a civic election. But then they had this really odd event where the sky was purple one morning, and everyone had to get up early to see that. It's
like you're following just to the point where you're not, and then it's. I feel like I've had this conversation so many times. It's like talking to somebody about a video game that you've not played. Like,
yes.
You can follow enough because you have like an understanding of video games, but then they go to like that next level, and you're like, "Yep, no, you just went into jargon that I don't know." And we're back. Okay.
It's any and every time people talk about popular culture around me.
Yeah.
I mean, that just sounds like Kazra's experience with this party, like so far. Like,
I'm just gonna say, it winds up a combination of a discussion of the interface of three different cultures, political views, randomly interspersed with discussions about Marvel movies. It's the best way of explaining the conversation that's going on at the table. So the long and the short of it, and I will actually provide you off table with a list. Each of the districts on the map has essentially a primary gang which runs basically all of the underworld business in and out of that neighborhood. And then there is somebody jonesing for that organization's spot.
Yep.
Now it works out.
Tracks.
Now the reason you're here is that bluntly, the twins run this neighborhood.
Yeah, cool.
The reason that there are jokes about what gets served, what's hanging on one of the hooks is because that line you came up with, reputation's a good thing to have, but not to trust. They have there is a reputation this place has for serving the people that irritate the shit out of the twins. It's completely false, but it's a good reputation to have. Yeah. There are four sets of fingers on the scales at varying weight levels. All of the major empires are arguing over basically all of the upstart organizations or the principal organizations, depending where you are. And I'm literally going to send you the equivalent of a CIA fact book.
Yeah. That's the side game of Blades in the Dark that we're playing.
Yeah, I was just going to say are owned by somebody.
Yeah.
The Confederacy, of course, runs public policy within the city. The city is bought and paid for by the Confederacy. The underworld, on the other hand, is a mishmash of collision of pride and politics. Is the best way of putting it. On top of that, it's one of the worst kept secrets in town that the Ebon Elves are up to something. No one can figure out what, but there are at least two different sets of Ebon Elves randomly shooting each other at odd hours of the night.
Jesus, all right.
And then just
talk about
because
a frontier town.
Yeah, and then just because it couldn't get any more awkward, the Claws in the Dark have suddenly decided that they hate everybody.
Yeah, well, that was like the next thing I was gonna ask in character. I think is like, so the incident today, the Claws of the Dark. What do you know about them? Are they friends? Are they?
They're going to look at each other, and you can just sort of see the mental calculus between two people who know each other well enough, sort of that every time you twitch the head, they understand what that means, kind of thing. And then they'll basically come as close to leveling with you as I think he's going to get, having just ridden into town, as it were. They're a bunch of religious zealots. They are not here for the crime. They're not here for the money. They're here out of some God-ordained, prophecy-driven. The way must be paved. The mountains shall be plowed into the valleys, no matter the cost in blood. That's the Claws in the Dark.
Huh.
They make everybody fucking nervous because you can never tell what it is you may be doing that might run afoul of their current interpretation of Tuesday's prophecy. The book page changes every day, so it's hard to see when you're in and out.
Yeah.
They won't let anyone else look at the book either.
I think in a way that's probably confusing for the twins. Spider looks at Mysel after that and says, yeah, we can use that.
And Mysel has no idea what's going on. Unless Mysel speaks
Mysel
Thieves'
tuned out.
Cant for some reason.
I think the moment the Thieves' Cant came out, I think Mysel sort of, tried to listen, but then just tuned out.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know that they're somewhat of a wild card. I won't put too much faith in them.
Yeah, the only thing we can sort of claim is, the only thing we'll warn you in advance, is they haven't hit us in a long time for some reason, and so naturally everyone's starting to figure we're the problem.
Well, for your own benefit, maybe stay the course so that they don't mess with you, but also I understand why that's a problem. Collectively we don't mind getting blamed for things like bloody massacres in sewers that force 3 other gangs to reconsider their life choices. But at the same token, eventually someone's going to come knocking on our door wanting to ask really awkward questions. Understandably.
Some people don't knock at doors either.
My companions here and I haven't quite decided on our timeline for our expeditions yet, but I am interested in finding someone in the city, either perhaps yourselves or friends of yours, who specialize in enchantments and working on imbuing magical properties.
Oh, yes, of course, we know just the people. Having a good magical blade or an amulet of deflection handy, particularly in our kind of work, isn't such a bad plan. And the trolls incredibly good at what they do, so we make sure we've got a couple of good friends amongst them who are willing to trade on orders. There's some stuff they can't get where they're at, and so we're very happy to provide them with what we can.
They seem like very dependable folk, actually.
They have their own way of looking at the world. You have to respect it, or they'll eat you. But beyond that little foible,
Wouldn't be the first of that kind of friend that we've made, would it? Looking at Alexandria. It was only like a month ago that we made friends out of an entire village of lizard people.
I'm glad that's what you were thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, glad that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. something TOS. Okay.
Oh boy!
Man, this game doesn't get close to TOS that often, but...
It doesn't, but when it does.
But
Common denominator, would you say?
Huh? Excuse? What, you being here? Yeah.
Oh, spice!
Just
I'll be
saying.
going now. I'll be going now.
You and Nadine. That's...
To be fair, Nadine is like walking terms of service violation.
She's a
I gotta
sweetheart,
click
but
that just for
every once in a
Nadine.
while.
Yes.
Do I need to stop this before it goes someplace that I'm going to have to explain? Screw it, this is fun.
No. Do not halt.
Yeah. Not sure I could.
No, you couldn't. Wisdom is great to have.
Anyway, Spider.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more I need to get out of this conversation. Like they're very amiable, which is like a good place. It's good to have people that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very obvious, I think, that Brux's recommendation carried a hell of a lot of weight with them.
Yeah.
They obviously, I mean, no role required, are very pleased to have a partner, any kind of a business arrangement with Bruxa, and the fact that she basically has shipped you along and said, yeah, you want in on this slice, I think has put you in very good stead almost automatically, essentially by default with them.
Yeah.
So beyond that, I mean, there's a perpetual element of mischief about the two. There's a couple of times where they're clearly giggling at some inside joke that you're not in on. But overall, yeah, it's a delightfully murderous pair of cupcakes. There's just
What a sentence.
Yeah, and like the only other thing is like I think Spider starts laying the groundwork for any logistics that we're going to need to sort out later for expeditions and stuff. I mean, our first plan, as far as I understand it, is to go and visit the airship, which we want to do with no one else anyway. At bare minimum fast. We probably need some.
So
probably need a wagon and horses, but.
So the short version is that because of the groundwork you have laid between Bruxia and then getting to here, having this conversation, you are functionally one wealth level higher than you're supposed to. The group is functionally, as long as Spider's doing the talking to these two, you are functionally one wealth level higher on 1 week's notice.
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
So in other words, give them a week, they can practically get you anything. But... and this is the but, asterisk, large star, underlines, etc., they are expecting that this is going to be profitable for them. They are not going to be willing to constantly pour material, blood and treasure, as it were, into a hole that never gets filled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping our first trip we can whet some appetites, and then our second trip it might not matter because we might save or end the world. So
Good thing to hope for.
I really like that we. I like the we in that.
Well, I mean, I'm the one that's along for the ride on that.
I don't want to end the world. Not today.
Not so much about want to.
Accidents
it's
happen,
more
right?
about whether we will or not.
I just, let's keep it as a we.
It's a we.
Blanket we. We might end the world. I might save it, but we might end it.
Oh, I see how it is. Okay.
Yes.
That tracks.
Fits perfectly with the story thus far. Carry on.
You've all met Alexandria.
Only just recently.
But still, it's as if you've known her for many hours.
Many minutes. Many minutes.
Many minutes. So,
so just so we're clear, there's going to be a ridiculous amount of food and a ridiculous amount of alcohol that winds up showing up at the table. Most of it expensive, most of it incredibly good. All of it from literally the three different the three different arms of the continent. And at some point in the evening, there's going to be incredibly pretty people hanging out. Because they, because hangers on, and you're obviously all very important people because you're hanging out with the twins. So, for lack of a better way of putting it, you suddenly find yourself in the VIP section of the club, if you will. There's going to be a couple of minstrels who are literal, genuine, whose singular job is to just keep playing whatever music the twins feel like listening to right now, or anything you happen to that you request in particular, because that's cool by the twins too. They haven't heard that one before. Oh, that's cool. Okay, add that to our favorites list, would you, George? Thanks.
George, play Despacito.
No. Sorry.
Wrapped up like a bean burrito. Does Kazra get real drunk?
Does the bird get drunk?
It doesn't take much for the bird to get drunk, so yes.
Bird gets
The bird is, by definition, the bird is a lightweight. I think, like, the liver's probably tiny, like, by comparison. Like,
Oh no. Does the bird drink normally?
he's drinking to be polite.
Oh no.
You can't drink and fly, and you gotta fly to get home, so, like, everyone is the designated flyer.
Oh no.
I guess you're crashing with us tonight. Not crashing, like crashing.
No.
No, not
Just-
like that.
This is how owls smash into windows.
Designated
No.
flyer. Yep.
That only happens when windows are really clean. That's all.
I'm
Oh.
imagining that, like, at like the communal area where the full 60 live, there's like the high up perch that they sleep on, but there's also the ground level perch for if you can't.
When you have to
It's the perch
You
of
have to walk
shame.
home.
But it's kind of like the perch of shame where you're just like, you couldn't fly.
I'm just going to say that awkward moment when you look up and think, I'll either wind up upside down or head down on the ground. I'll just stay here.
Can't stay all the way up there. Can't do that.
Who thought that was a good idea anyway? Come on.
I feel like I've earned a good tangent today, so here's a great one.
Uh-oh.
All right.
I've earned a tangent.
Black cockatoos in Australia are very partial to cracking open and drinking from pine cones, which self-ferment. And so black cockatoos, when they fly, like you can often see them in the late afternoon in big flocks, like bumping into each other and being incredibly loud and obnoxious because they are literally drunk on pine cones.
I now have to do research because I want to know if black cockatoos are nicer than the like gangster white cockatoos that you see round.
Yeah, they're white.
Trash-
Normal
like-
cockatoos
You
are
guys
like,
have
damn.
just like wild
badass
cockatoos in your country? Is that
Yeah.
a thing? Like,
Yeah, that's-
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, they run
Cockatoos are
they run
native,
suburbs,
yeah.
man. They run suburbs.
I'm just
so you
gonna
have
say,
them like
you know how
pigeons.
yes.
Not
Yeah,
quite
I mean,
like
they're
pigeons, but a
native.
little bit, yeah.
They're
I was
native
just going to
too.
say, yes, exactly, KJ. But like cockatiels, the things that everyone over here in North America.
Oh yeah,
will
you
spend
think it's a
50 to
cockatiel?
$50 to $75 to $100 to get a little gray and yellow thing that tall. Yes, I know. You folks have.
Yeah.
They shoot them in Australia as mass pests.
Oh, I mean, I've never seen that happen. I feel like a cockatoo would come after you if you tried. You probably shouldn't.
Cockatiel, not cockatoo.
Oh,
Cockatiel.
we don't shoot cockatiels either. No, they're friends.
Try
They're
it.
little
Okay. Okay.
They're little
fair enough.
friends. No.
Fish are friends.
Okay,
not
I'll
food.
stop now before I upset anybody.
Yeah, don't hurt the cockatiel, please. Oh my
Yeah, I don't
goodness.
think cockatiels are
Cockatiels aren't a pest.
that common or pesty here, but
No. Minor birds, yes. Cockatiels,
minor
no.
birds.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, it's just not something I've heard of. But yeah, we have a flock of white cockatoos around the corner, Danny. Like
yeah,
they just
That's
live
wild.
there.
yeah.
It's more like the way we have crows everywhere. More like.
We
That's
also
what I
have
was gonna
crows.
Ask. Like crows, yeah. Like no, your crows are weird. That's
Hey,
a
Frito.
whole different.
Oh,
Your-
you guys
your
don't have
crows.
magpies though. We get magpies. Magpies are.
No,
We don't.
Oh.
Do we have magpies?
What?
Do we have magpies? I didn't.
Yeah, magpies
Oh!
are-
Wait, the little. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. My brain
white.
went to like
They'll mess
crow
you up.
versus
Oh, ravens.
ravens. I thought.
Yeah,
of
no, we don't
ravens
have
for a
ravens.
second. No, crows are great.
We have magpies and they
Magpies and
fucked
crows are
up.
great. Love them.
I was just gonna say, our neighbor, where I'm living right now, we've got 2 bald eagle in the neighborhood. We've got a trio of osprey, which don't like them at all, and then we've got a pack of ravens who don't like we have a literal murder of ravens that hang out in the neighborhood that don't like the osprey, and then we've got a whole pile of blackbirds and starlings that don't like the ravens. It can get really loud
Yeah.
first thing in the morning over my house.
Gang war.
There's currently a turf war of lorikeet, like, out my window.
That is the end of my
That's-
earned bird tangent.
Very good. So, is there anything else you folks... So, basically, you folks can stay up, party, drink, be ridiculous, and wake up wherever you want tomorrow.
I love how you're like, terms of service, maybe I shouldn't. And then you're like, so, your VIPs now, gonna get drunk.
Yeah. Well, I think sort of late in the night after we've gone to our rooms, Spider knocks on Alexandria's door.
I mean, she's absolutely drunk.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you intend to get out of Alexandria.
This is like sometime after the party has ended. At least an hour or more.
Yeah, as with most with most fantasy medieval type places, by about 1 o'clock at night, the the town guard are basically knocking on doors and telling people to get not only can you not stay here, you must go home, and this places are being shut down because otherwise the town guard have to keep walking around all bloody night and they don't want to. So they shut everything down.
Wow.
Curfew, huh?
We need to go to the Empire.
I'm just gonna say, so 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Everything wraps up. Candles are doused.
Everyone who's not staying is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's like a knock on the room door.
What?
I know you are still quite inebriated, but I want to show you something.
What?
It'll be worth it. Get up.
It takes a moment. There's the sound of stumbling. And she opens the door.
Come on.
She closes the door.
He like grabs the door, pushes it open.
No. She closes the door.
Behind you.
She closes the door again in your face. There's a moment because she's putting clothes back on, and then she comes out again. What?
We're not going that far. Don't worry.
Okay. What?
Yeah, and he takes her out to like a balcony off the inn or whatever. And it's like our first proper night here in Cliff Spider, and we're up in the mountains. I can only imagine that the stars and the moons and whatever look fucking amazing up here.
10,000 feet. You are at 10,000 feet elevation.
Yeah.
None of you have ever been any higher than about 500 to 700 foot elevation. So 3,000 meter elevation versus 200 meter elevation at maximum.
No.
For those of you who've never done stargazing from anything higher than about 1,000 meters, it is boggling. Even with and at 1 o'clock in the morning, like I say, with the city basically turned off. Other than the odd, primary corners. If you take a look at the map, anywhere that the main road is drawn and there's an intersection, there's a lamp there, but it's by definition got a reflector aimed down on it because they're trying. These things run on either somebody's cantrip time or oil, right? And so blasting light into the sky is of no value whatsoever. So all of them are hooded reflector lanterns that are specifically there to light up the square or light up that corner. And so, yes, the sky is almost numbingly brilliant. I'm just gonna double check something. Oh, stop it, you thing. View world. And it's 17th, I believe I said. Lanogiianes homepage. Just double checking date here. 1 sec. 19th of Yggdrasil. That's what I thought. Okay, not the 17th, the 19th. Yggdrasil. Come on. There we go. So yeah, it is a double crescent moon this evening. Brilliant
Bright as
stars.
hell.
And I think almost without it's hard to not look at the sky. It's when you guys were at sea on the ship, you sailed into to Glitter Delta Cove. You were a couple of nights at sea, and that was pretty spectacular because it's absolutely dark. But at least one of those nights, the weather was kind of ugly and that sort of thing. But this is that sort of magic moment that astronomers would pay good money for, to be able to get up this high and be able to not have light pollution or whatever in their way.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's big.
Yeah. Makes me feel very small. But like in a good way, you know?
No.
We grew up very different, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we don't always communicate that well with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you know I consider you a very good friend, Alexandre.
What?
You and I, we're friends.
Oh. Yes?
Okay. Good. I hope I didn't say anything that offended you today.
No, you didn't offend me.
Okay.
Are you really afraid of me?
Yeah, my soul asked me the same thing, actually. I'm not afraid of you, like, hurting me on purpose or anything like that. I mean, I know you could if you wanted to, but I don't think you would.
I mean, you could too. Hurt me on purpose.
Right.
Like, you'd be better at it.
I don't know if that's true anymore.
What? Why?
The things you can do, Alexa, you made life in those birds. You can just as easily unmake it. That is scary.
That's not me, though.
Isn't it?
No, that's the Chanson. I don't do that.
But you're the conduit.
I guess.
And it's the people around you who are affected by the song. Lucas couldn't do those things before you.
But I couldn't do those things before La Chanson. So...
No, I understand. And I know... I guess then that's really what I am afraid of. It's not you, it's the song.
Oh, me too.
Good. Good.
Oh no.
You both are hearing this.
Yeah.
It starts kind of quietly and drifts in like it's part of the wind, and then begins to get louder and louder until you're both very aware of some sort of a presence, a feeling, a pull, a magnetism. And without really feeling like you have a huge choice in the matter, both of you wind up looking together out across the plain towards a very faint red glow on the horizon.
I keep hearing it, Alexa.
I'm not doing that.
No, I know. I mean... more. How have you dealt with this for so long?
I just do.
I think you're a lot stronger than you realize. I don't like being told what to do, though. Maybe you could ask it not to pull so much.
I will ask when I figure out how to tell it not to. But I think that if I tell it not to, it will disappear.
I can see why that would also be scary.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to go to that red glow.
You don't want to?
Mm-mm.
Isn't that why we came here, though?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
I don't know what it wants me to do. So, if I go, then maybe I will accidentally do what it wants me to do.
Your grandmother, she made it to the mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she chose not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then surely you'll be offered the same chance.
I hope so, but I don't know.
Are you sure you don't want to do it?
I don't know.
I always thought you wanted to do what the song wanted.
I did.
And she never told you what it was?
I don't think she could.
Oh. Magic stuff.
Whatever it is, it's asking me to do the exact same thing. And it exploded a volcano when, well, I think it exploded a volcano when Grandmère didn't do it. So, even if I think I shouldn't do it, I mean, a volcano is a pretty big motivator. So if I don't go in the first place, then it cannot threaten me with a volcano.
A pointed shot of the red glow in the distance.
The red glow looks at the camera.
With its single eye.
I don't know if that's true, Alex.
Neither do I.
Do you think I'm already dead?
It's no.
I just can't get this ticking out of my ears.
I think something happened and you had to have extra ticks added, but I don't think you are already dead.
I keep feeling like I'm not in time.
I mean, you're ticking, so if anything, you are more on time.
I can't explain it. When I was walking today, I'd blink and I'd suddenly be 5 steps ahead of where I was, or I'd be riding and then I'd look down and I was a paragraph behind. You know, I made a big fuss about the whole walking on walls thing with Reneshi, and I've always been good at climbing around and doing things, but it's different now. Like, I couldn't actually do that before.
What do you mean?
Literally being able to walk on walls and ceilings. I always imagined it, sure, but until
you and the song. It was a dream, and now I can do it.
I don't have an answer for that.
That's okay. It wasn't really a question. It's just confusing. It was like I already knew how, but I didn't do it. Not expressing myself again. I'm not just scared of you, the song. I'm excited by it. And I don't know that I've felt that before.
So you think I should do what it says?
There's a power in this world that sings for you, that speaks to you, and gives you and the people around you what they want. That's an incredible amount of power to carry. And I don't know that I could do it. I want so much.
That doesn't answer my question.
I don't know what it's going to ask you to do.
If it would give me anything I want, do you think I should do it?
I know I wouldn't be able to say no.
Then why did Grandmère say no?
Yeah, she's always struck me as a very smart lady, so I guess there has to be a good reason.
One that is worth a volcano exploding and related in some way to the giants, and one that makes Genevieve follow me, and one that likes people being open to new ways of seeing things. But is not a divinity.
Do you think it just wants to be free?
if it does, then something bad must happen as a result.
The possibilities are just too much. So I don't know. I don't know whether I want you to do what it says. I want my brother back. I want Chevalier back too. Anyway, I'm glad you like the stars.
Big and bright.
Spider, what is your resolve, please?
Oh,
Fucker. What did you roll, Michelle?
Actually not very well, which is the reason I'm asking. 15.
My resolve is 15. You got there.
All right. However, that is less than Alexandria's resolve, is it not?
correct. Mine is a 20.
All right. So we are going to end on the moment of you two, if you will. It's the camera is sort of you two are leaning on the balcony, looking at the panorama of stars. Involuntarily, there's the red glow of the mountain off to one side, and then the camera starts to pan backwards until the edges of a crystal ball come into view. And there's a hand that you've seen before, drumming with their fingers on the edge of the crystal ball. The image has Spider very, very clearly centered in the image. And you see Alexandria looking over her shoulder in alarm. And that will be where we wrap.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yes. I'm just gonna shut my computer down. I'm not even gonna end the stream. We're just shutting it's just
Someone worked out how to play peekaboo.
Someone tried to find me enough times that it didn't work. So they thought,
I got someone who's not you.
oh no.
These two are inseparable, so I'm going to keep an eye on him from now on.
That's problematic. Yeah. That is very problematic.
That's awkward.
Awkward. Awkward and frightening. Awkward and frightening.
Seems that way.
Yeah, rolled a 2 on the D20.
Yeah.
Oh. Damn it.
Roll 2.
Well.
So yeah. That's it for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's all, folks.
Good night, everyone.
We'll see you in a week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.